the publication of El Filibusterismo, Rizal left Europe for Hong Kong, where he lived from November 1891 to June 1892. There's a reason behind his leaving. He left off his political differences with Marcelo H. del Pilar and other Filipinos in Spain. Additionally, he wanted to be near to his idolized Philippines and family. He bid goodbye to Pardo de Taveras and Venturas and other friend. He also brings recommendation letter from Juan Luna for Manuel Camus and 600 copies of El Filibusterismo. The trip was delightful, heavenly in Rizal's opinion. There were 80 first-class passengers. Rizal was the only Asian among them. As usual, he amazed his fellow passengers. He showed his knowledge in many languages and his skill in the field of art, particularly the sketching. He became close with them and befriended many missionaries, and included Father Fuse, a Tyrolese. He enjoyed playing chess. During his trip to Hong Kong, an incident suddenly came up. Three German ladies are talking about him. Little did they know that he could understand them. The German ladies felt embarrassed and thereafter, they treated Rizal with admiration and respect despite his brown skin. Rizal finally arrived in Hong Kong on November 20, 1891. Jose Maria Basa, his old friend, gave him a warm welcome. On December 1, 1891, he received a letter from his brother-in-law, Manuel T. Hidalgo.
I regret to tell you this news about the deportation of 25 persons from Calamba, including Father, Neneng, Sisa, Lucia, Pasiano, and the rest of us. If the Queen will not listen, we will write to Queen Victoria of England appealing to protection in the name of humanity.
Before Christmas of 1891, he was gladdened by the arrival of his father, brother, and Silvestre Ubaldo in Hong Kong. The Christmas in Hong Kong was one of the happiest Yuletide celebrations in Rizal's life that also became family reunion. To earn a living for himself and his family, Rizal do his best and work hard to pursue medicine. A Portuguese physician, Dr. Lorenzo P. Marquez, who became his friend and admirer, helped him build up a wide client. In due time, Dr. Rizal became a successful and well-known medical practitioner in British colony. He successfully operated his mother's left eye. Aside from being eye specialist, he was a general practitioner. Rizal passed the qualities of a great ophthalmic surgeon. He became one of the Asia's eminent ophthalmologists.
Here I practice as a doctor and I have here many sick of influenza because there was epidemic. Through the newspaper, I am informed that this sickness was also causing ravages in Europe. I hope you and your esteemed family will be spared. In our house, my mother, my brother-in-law, and one of my sisters are sick. Thank God they are out of danger.
Rizal was given a moral support and substantial aid in his medical practice in Hong Kong. Mr. Boustead wrote to him on March 21, 1892, praising him for his medical profession. Ariston Bautista Lin sent him congratulatory letter and a book on diagnostic pathology by Dr. H. Virchow and another medical book entitled Trait Diagnostic by Menes Choc. Don Antonio Vergel de Dios offered him his services for the purchase of medical books and instruments which he might need in his profession.
All the qualities that would make an ideal ophthalmic surgeon, a keen and analytical intellect, lightness of touch and artistry of a painter, courage and imperturbability, a broad and deep knowledge of medicine and ophthalmology, and last but not the least, he had been properly and adequately trained by master ophthalmic surgeon.
Rizal conceived the establishment of a Filipino colony in the North Borneo. He planned to move those Filipino families to that British-owned island and carve out of its virgin wilderness a new Calamba. On March 7, 1892, He went to Sandakan on board the ship Menon to negotiate with the British authorities for the establishment of a Filipino colony. His mission was successful. The British authorities of Borneo were willing to give the Philippine colonies 100,000 acres of land with free of all charges. By April 20, he was back in Hong Kong. His friends in Europe promote his Borneo colonization project. One of his friends, Hanea, expressed his desires to join the project and wrote to Rizal.
I have a great desire of joining you. Reserve for me there a piece of land where I can plant sugarcane. I shall go there to dedicate myself to the cultivation of sugarcane and the making of sugar. Send me further details.
On the other hand, his brother-in-law objected to the colonization project.
This idea about Borneo is no good. Why should we leave the Philippines, this beautiful country of ours? And besides, what will people say? Why have we made all these sacrifices? Why should we go to a foreign land without first exhausting all means for the welfare of the country, which nurtured us from our cradles? Tell me that.
Governor General Eulogio Despojol replaced Weyler and announced to the Filipino people a fine program of government. He sent him a letter of felicitation on December 23, 1891, and offering his cooperation. But instead, the governor did not even acknowledge receipt of his letter. On March 21, 1892, he wrote again and requested to permit the landless Filipinos to establish themselves in Borneo. During his staying in Hong Kong, Rizal wrote a lot. He wrote an article entitled Colonización do British North Borneo por the Families de las Philippines, Colonization of British North Borneo by families from the Philippine Islands, to elucidate his Borneo colonization project. He elaborated on the same idea in another article in Spanish, Proyecto de Colonización del British North Borneo por las Filipinos, Project of the Colonization of the British North Borneos by the Philippines. On June 1892, he wrote La Mano Roja, the Red Hand, which denounces the frequent outbreaks of intentional fires in Manila. In 1892, he printed Constitution of the La Liga Filipina, the most important writing made by him during Hong Kong sojourn. The printed copies carry false information to deceive the Spanish authorities that the printing was done by the London Printing Press, number 25, Kulog Street, London. The idea of establishing the La Liga Filipina was originally conceived by Jose Maria, but it was Rizal who wrote its constitution and realized its establishment. In May 1892, Rizal made up his mind to return to Manila. The decision was spurred by the following: to confer with Governor Despojol regarding his Borneo colonization project, to establish the La Liga Filipina in Manila, and to prove that Eduardo de Lete was wrong in attacking him in Madrid that he attacked, which was printed in La Solidaridad on April 15, 1892, portrayed Rizal as cowardly, egoistic, opportunistic, a patriot in words only. The relatives and friends of Rizal opposed his decision to return home because it was like birding the lions in their den. His sister Trinidad tearfully warned him. On June 20, 1892, Rizal wrote 2 letters which he sealed, inscribed on each envelope to be opened after his death, and gave them to his friend Dr. Marquez for safekeeping. The first letter were for his parents, brethren, and friends, and the second letter for the Filipinos. On June 21, 1892, Rizal penned another letter in Hong Kong for Governor General Despojol. Incidentally, his third letter to that discourteous Spanish chief executive. In this letter, he informed that the Governor General of his home coming to Manila and placed himself under the protection of the Spanish government. Immediately after Rizal's departure from Hong Kong together with his sister Lucia, wife of late Mariano Herbosa, the Spanish Consul General who issued the governor guarantee for of safety, sent a cablegram to General Despojol. The same day, A secret case was filed in Manila against Rizal and his followers for anti-religious and anti-patriarch agitation. They were peacefully crossing the China Sea without knowing about Spanish diplomacy. Due to the case filed against Rizal, he was deported to Dapitan.